What if I told you there's a dime out there that looks completely ordinary, but is secretly worth a fortune? A dime that could be sitting in your pocket right now, overlooked, unnoticed, and hiding a jaw-dropping secret. This isn't a legend. This is real. And today, we're unlocking the mystery behind one of the most surprising coins in modern U.S. history, the 2008 D. Roosevelt dime. Welcome to HD Coins World, where pocket change becomes treasure. Let's get into it. Number 1. Have you ever held a dime in your hand and wondered if it was hiding a small fortune? Most of us glance at our spare change without a second thought. But every now and then, one of those coins carries a secret, an extraordinary story etched in metal. And the 1967 Roosevelt dime is one of those rare pieces that could turn an ordinary day into an unforgettable one. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most overlooked coins in your pocket, the 1967 Roosevelt dime. It's small, shiny, and looks just like every other dime. But don't let its size fool you. This humble 10-cent coin could be worth a life-changing amount of money, if you know what to look for. So sit back, grab your coin jar, and let's uncover the hidden secrets of this fascinating dime. Let's begin with what makes this coin so unique. The Roosevelt dime was first minted in 1946, honoring President Franklin D. Roosevelt after his passing. By 1967, the U.S. Mint had stopped using silver in dimes, switching to a clad composition of copper and nickel due to the rising cost of silver. This means the 1967 dimes were never meant to be made in silver. And that's exactly where things get interesting. In 1967, coin collectors were facing a serious challenge. The Mint had temporarily removed mint marks to prevent coin hoarding. No D for Denver, no S for San Francisco, just blank, markless coins. This makes spotting rare variants much trickier, and much more exciting. But what sets some 1967 dimes apart from the rest? It all comes down to errors, and not just any errors. We're talking about dramatic misstrikes, off-center strikes, and even incredibly rare examples of dimes struck on silver planchets. Planchets that were never supposed to be used in 1967. Imagine this. A few leftover silver blanks from previous years accidentally fed into the press, struck with the 1967 Roosevelt design. These coins shouldn't exist, but they do. And collectors are on a constant hunt to find them. So how can you spot one of these rare treasures? First, check the color. Silver dimes from before 1965 have a brighter, more consistent silver tone all the way through. Hold it on its edge. If you don't see that familiar copper stripe along the rim, you might have something special. Next, weigh the coin. A standard 1967 clad dime should weigh about 2.27 grams. A genuine silver dime from earlier years weighs slightly more, around 2.5 grams. It's a small difference, but when it comes to coin values, small differences mean big money. And now, let's talk about the most exciting part. Why these dimes are so valuable. Collectors love coins that tell a story. And nothing tells a better story than a coin that wasn't supposed to exist. A 1967 Roosevelt dime struck on a silver planchet is one of the rarest finds in modern coinage. It's a mystery, a minting mistake, and a historic artifact all in one. Combine that with strong demand and limited known examples, and the result is pure treasure. Now, before we reveal the jaw-dropping value of one of these era coins, I want to hear from you. Have you ever found a strange-looking dime in your change? One that felt just a little different? Maybe a little heavier? Or brighter than the rest? Let me know in the comments. Your story might inspire someone to take a closer look at their own coins. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, one of these rare 1967 Roosevelt dimes, struck on a silver planchet, verified and graded, has sold for an astonishing $65,000. That's right. $65,000, not bad for a coin most people wouldn't look at twice. So the next time you're handed a dime, take a moment. Flip it, weigh it, examine the edge. Because treasure doesn't always sparkle, it jingles quietly in your pocket, waiting to be discovered. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy hunting. Number 2. Imagine holding a coin so rare, so mysterious, that only a handful are known to exist. A coin that has puzzled historians, excited collectors, and fetched millions at auction. Today, we journey into the world of one of the rarest coins ever struck by the United States Mint, the 1894 S. Barber dime, a coin so legendary, it's whispered about in coin circles like a myth. But it's not fiction. This coin is real, and if you ever laid eyes on one, you'd be looking at history, mystery, and fortune all in one. At first glance, the 1894 S dime doesn't seem all that different. It's part of the Barber dime series, which ran from 1892 to 1916. Designed by Chief Engraver Charles E. Barber, these dimes feature Lady Liberty on the front, wearing a Phrygian cap and laurel wreath, with the word Liberty across her band. It's classic, elegant, and distinctly American, but what makes the 1894 S stand apart is its incredible rarity. Unlike other dates that saw millions of coins minted, only 24 dimes were struck at the San Francisco Mint in 1894. Just 24. That's not a typo. Why were so few made? That's where the mystery begins. Some say it was an accounting quirk, striking a small number of dimes to balance the Mint's books. Others believe it was a personal favor by the Mint superintendent for banker friends. And there's even a story about one being given to a Mint employee's daughter, who spent it on ice cream. Can you imagine spending a coin worth millions today on ice cream? As the years went on, most of those 24 vanished from public view. Today, only 9 to 10 examples are known to still exist. Some are locked away in museums. A few are tightly held by private collectors. And others? Still missing, possibly sitting unnoticed in someone's old coin jar or tucked in a forgotten drawer, just waiting to be rediscovered. So how do you know if you've found the real deal? First, look for the mint mark. The 1894 S dime will have a tiny S on the reverse, just below the wreath. That S stands for San Francisco, and it's the key to identifying this rare issue. Next, examine the design. Because only 24 were made, they were struck with exceptional care, sharp, deep details, clear lines, and a strong rim. Many of the surviving examples are in excellent condition because collectors knew from the beginning that this was no ordinary coin. Now, let's talk errors. Because even in perfection, this coin hides surprises. Some researchers have speculated that there may have been trial strikes or misstruck pieces among those 24. If one of these surfaced, even with a slight variation, it would send shockwaves through the numismatic world. That's why it pays to look closely at everything from the thickness of the rim to the alignment of the design. So why is this dime so valuable? It's a mix of rarity, mystery, condition, and sheer legend. Coins like this don't just represent money, they represent a moment in time. They spark imagination, carry stories, and inspire passion in collectors. With fewer than a dozen known, and demand from collectors around the world, the value skyrockets every time one hits the auction block. Now I want to ask you, what would you do if you found a small, worn dime from 1894 with an S on the back? Would you race to get it appraised? Frame it? Or keep it secret, knowing you might be holding one of the rarest coins in American history? Drop your answer in the comments. I'd love to know how you'd handle discovering a treasure like this. And now, for the part that makes jaws drop. In 2016, a nearly pristine example of the 1894 S Barber dime sold at auction for $1,997,500. Later, in 2020, another specimen went for over $1,320,000. And in the most legendary sale to date, a flawless proof-like example once fetched over $2 million. That's right. One tiny 10-cent coin. Worth millions. So the next time you see an old coin in a dusty box or a forgotten collection, don't ignore it. Take a closer look. Because lightning does strike, and sometimes, it strikes in the form of a silver dime from 1894. Thanks for watching, and keep searching. Your fortune could be hiding in plain sight. Number 3. You probably see them every single day. Shiny little dimes, easy to miss, easy to forget. But what if I told you that one of those dimes, one that looks just like the rest, could actually be worth a small fortune? In today's video, we're diving deep into the world of modern coins, and more specifically, the 2008 D. Roosevelt dime. It's a coin you might find in your pocket right now, sitting quietly in your change jar or stuck between your car seats, hiding an incredible secret. This isn't just another dime. This is a coin with mystery, error, and value. So if you're a collector, a treasure hunter, or just someone who loves a good story, you're going to want to stick around. Let's start with what makes the 2008 D. Roosevelt dime special. At first glance, it looks just like any other dime minted in the last few decades. It features President Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse, facing left, with the word Liberty to his left, and In God We Trust just beneath his chin. On the reverse, the classic torch, olive branch, and oak branch design remains unchanged, symbols of freedom, peace, and strength. But here's where it gets interesting. The 2008 Roosevelt dime struck at the Denver Mint should have been routine. In fact, hundreds of millions were made that year. But among them, a few slipped through the cracks. A few were struck with errors. Not just any errors, highly collectible, valuable ones that only the sharpest eyes can spot. One of the most famous types of errors on the 2008 D. Roosevelt dime is the missing clad layer. Normally, these dimes are made of a copper core with a nickel outer layer. But every once in a while, a coin is struck missing that top layer. The result? A dime that looks dramatically different, dull, reddish in tone, and lighter in weight. If you ever see a dime that looks more like a penny, that's your cue to take a closer look. Then there are off-center strikes, where the coin isn't aligned correctly during the minting process. Part of the design is shifted, and sometimes, parts of the lettering or date are missing or warped. The more dramatic the misalignment, the more valuable the error becomes. You might also come across a doubled die, where parts of the design appear to have a shadow or a doubling effect. These are harder to spot but can show up in the lettering, especially on the word Liberty, or in Roosevelt's facial features. Now, how can you spot one of these valuable errors? Start by checking the color. If a 2008 D dime looks coppery or red like a penny, it might be missing its outer clad layer. Weigh it. A normal dime weighs about 2.27 grams. An error coin without the outer layer will weigh less. Next, inspect the edges. A normal clad dime will have a visible copper stripe when viewed from the side. If the edge is silver all the way around or missing that stripe, take note, and finally, grab a magnifier. Look closely at the lettering and design. Any unusual doubling, missing parts of the image, or strange textures could point to a valuable mint error. Now, let's talk about why these dimes are so valuable. While millions of 2008 D dimes were made, only a tiny fraction contain these rare minting mistakes. And in the world of coin collecting, rarity is everything. Combine that rarity with a modern coin, something people still think of as common, and you get the perfect storm for high demand. Collectors love the unexpected. They love coins that shouldn't exist, coins that slip through the strict quality control of the US Mint. And because most people don't look twice at dimes from 2008, these era coins are still being discovered today, by everyday people. So here's my question for you. Have you ever come across a coin that just looked off? Maybe it felt lighter, looked a little strange, or had a color that stood out. Let me know in the comments if you've ever had one of those moments, because your curiosity might just lead to an amazing discovery. Now, here's the part everyone's waiting for. One of these 2008 D. Roosevelt dimes, struck with a rare error and verified by grading experts, has sold at auction for an unbelievable $37,000. That's right. A 10-cent coin that turned into $37,000. So the next time you're handed change, or digging through your couch cushions, don't ignore that little dime. Take a moment. Flip it, inspect it, and give it the attention it deserves. Because treasure doesn't always come in gold bars. It sometimes comes in copper-tinted coins that the world forgot to look at. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep your eyes open, your magnifier handy, and never underestimate the power of pocket change.